Also, just an update in terms of what's going on in Venezuela. Maduro has declared victory. The opposition has also declared victory, or at least said that they have reason to believe that they won the election. We're going to be bringing on a guest early next week when we have a better sense of what's going on here. I know that there's exit polling that shows that Maduro lost, but I don't know what the reliability of these exit pollings are, what their relationships are. Certainly our relationship with Venezuela has been fraught for many, many years. Coincidentally, they have a ton of oil. And that tends to complicate things.
It's tough to do democracy with oil in the best of circumstances. But, I read one piece and it's like, well, maybe Biden shouldn't have done that thing of reducing sort of sanctions on their oil industry because of democracy. And it's like, is that the principle we adhere to? Is that what we do with Saudis? Like, do democracy, or we're not going to do this oil stuff? Or is maybe there's a better engagement?
And we should say, there's a lot of reporting that just came out that the Trump administration was explicitly told these harsh sanctions against Venezuela, they're going to increase migration from Venezuela. And this is literally one of the oldest stories in American history. Our involvement in Central and, or just Latin America, broadly speaking, Central and Southern America, to protect the interests of corporations, really. I mean, that's about it at the end of the day.
Chiquita.
There's a reason why they call it Banana Republic.
ITT. Yep.
ITT, Kissinger 11, I mean, all of it has all been a function, and arguably it is to also, I would add, maybe to stop the domino effect of communism, which of course was really just to protect corporate interests at the end of the day.
Yeah, did our sanctions stop communism or really overthrow the Cuban government, for example? There's a great piece and by a friend of mine, Jeff Stein, in the Washington Post that people should read. I know it's a multi-part series, but about how the United States has ramped up its sanctions regime exponentially over the years to very little effect, just basically as a way.
Well, it immiserates people.
In
entrenches
terms of
regimes.
Yes, it entrenches regimes. It immiserates people, and the people who are victims of the sanctions have pretty good understanding which is the country that's imposing it. It doesn't do what the United States says it does, which is like destabilizing these leaders that they want to get rid of. It hasn't had a good effect.
And and over the years, there has been various attempts and varying levels of degree of destabilizing regimes and whatnot, to the detriment of anything remotely considered democratic, and but to the benefit of militias, drug cartels, and others making for incredibly diminished economic opportunity and personal safety. And that's why you get, this is not just a pull situation. It's not that we just have roads paved with gold. But when you make other countries so dysfunctional that the only option for a significant segment of the population is to leave the country, or at least like one or two members of a family to leave the country to send money back, or to try and establish a beachhead where they'll be safe. That's what's going on. That's what's going on. And it'll shift. Sometimes it'll be more Venezuelans. Sometimes it'll be more Hondurans. Sometimes it'll be more Mexicans. Sometimes it'll be more. But the story essentially remains the same. That we have meddled in these countries and destabilized them enough that it ends up, and we now, we have reporting, at least that is like contemporary, because this has been something that's been going on for decades. We're going to have we're going to have a guest early next week to talk about Venezuela. I honestly, from my vantage point here in Brooklyn, I have no sense of what the reality is in terms of the Maduro election. There's just I know that there are polling outfits that have said that their exit polling is way off from what the election was. I know that there have been people who, I respect and have a history of trying to inhibit U.S. involvement in Latin America, like Jim McGovern, a congressman from Worcester, Mass., who has been calling for more transparency in that election to show, like on a precinct level, what the tallies were and what the votes were. So I suspect that it is possible that it's possible there was election fraud. It's possible there was improprieties. I can't say for sure, but I do feel very confident that the United States is not well positioned to deal with any of it. That I cannot point to involvement in Central or Latin America, and certainly not the net of our involvement, that has turned out positively for the people of any of these countries. And in fact, I feel quite confident that we have participated in many coups in the past.
Chris Murphy admitted to Venezuela coup a few years ago.
Actually, you know who else did? John Bolton.
Right.
This is clip number 14. He wrote about it.
I don't know that I agree with you. To be fair, with all due respect, one doesn't have to be brilliant to attempt a coup.
I disagree with that. As somebody who has helped plan coup d'etat, not here, but other places, it takes a lot of work, and that's not what he did.
When we were talking about what is capable, what you need to do to be able to plan a coup, and you cited your expertise having planned coups.
I'm not going to get into the specifics, but
successful coups?
Well, I wrote about Venezuela in the book, and it turned out not to be successful. Not that we had all that much to do with it, but I saw what it took for an opposition to try and overturn an illegally elected president.
I don't know that.
That is quite a stunning admission.
Yeah. It also keys into how the green light works in these contexts, because people always say, like, don't over or underestimate the agency of the local reactionaries there. But it's different when those local reactionaries can say, like, hey, if we go for it right now, Trump's in the White House, John Bolton's taking meetings, like, we might have a good chance there. That's different than, say, maybe somebody else saying, or somebody with different politics saying, let's go for it.
100%. And I mean, good for Jake Tapper to follow up, I guess. But also, like, you think of how, like, just the incredible arrogance that Bolton has, where he's bragging about it. I'm not going to tell you which ones we were, because they were all in service of democracy. And they were all on the side of good. But I'm not going to tell you which ones they are, because
that'd be too democratic.
That would be too. I'd be boasting about doing too much good in the world. Amazing. So, we will be talking to folks who have a better sense of what's going on in Venezuela. But
yeah, I thought James North's piece in The Nation, which is titled, like, Maduro's probably stealing the election, which, I'm agnostic about that, but that's, the title they gave it. But it says, most importantly, the last paragraph, like, it's not our place to try to fix this, because we are literally very recently trying to intervene in their politics toward the opposite end.
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.